to the 2016 Mrs. Oregon America pageant. For the safety of our staff, please remain seated as we shall be moving around during the show. Please take this time to mute all cell phones. Please, no flash photography during our show so that our contestants can get the best possible photo from our official photographer. Now, sit back and relax as our show is about to begin. Welcome again to the 2016 Mrs. Oregon America pageant held tonight at West Linn High School Performing Arts Center. Please rise for the national anthem as performed by Amy Nutt. Thank you, Amy, for that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. Who will be the new Mrs. Oregon America? We are about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mrs. Oregon 2015 Delisha Wistrand and the 2016 contestants competing for the title of Mrs. Oregon America.
I Multnomah County. I'm Courtney Cleaver, Mrs. Washington County.
Good evening, I'm Mrs. Cascade Lake, Chambers-Warman.
Hello everyone, I am Jeannie Gross, Mrs. Central Oregon.
Good evening, I'm Misty Anderson, Mrs. Baker County.
Welcome everyone, I'm Helen Anderson, Mrs. Yamhill Valley.
Good evening, I'm Leslie Martin, Mrs. Douglas County.
Thank you all for coming. I'm Sabina Johnson, and I'm Mrs. Lane County.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, our MC for this evening, David Dally. David is media director for Mobile Device TV, whose shows have been watched over 2 million times. David is a native Oregonian, has 2 daughters. Please welcome David Dally.
Good evening, thank you for coming. 9 beautiful women are vying for the title of Mrs. Oregon America 2016. Who is your favorite? All right. It's going to be a great evening. Patricia tells me that you ladies have been working hard to prepare for this evening. You look great. How about one more round of applause as these ladies go back to change for the first stage competition. Thank you, ladies. All right. Here we go. Wow, what a great audience. It's so great to be here. While the ladies are backstage preparing for the next phase of competition, we want to make sure you show them your support. Let's practice. Who is your favorite? Okay, excellent audience participation already. Now that you're warmed up, let's try it again. Only this time, let's welcome our current reigning Mrs. Oregon America, Delicia Wistrand. Here she is. All right, great to see you, Delicia.
You good to see you?
How does it feel to be almost done with your reign as Mrs. Oregon?
Oh, that's tricky. So I'm excited for a little action this summer. That's going to be fun. And for the next person, I'm excited to watch their journey. I'll be on staff now, so that'll be nice. But I'm a little sad to lose my reason to wear a crown every day. And now they're craving it, right? COVID, but my kids will not let me drop them off to school.
Well, just to be able to wear those shoes, folks, think about these shoes. Is this not half the reason to win? Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Also share with us, what's it meant to be the representative of this great band after last year?
Yeah, so this was a goal that I've had for several years. It took me, I think, 3 or 4 tries to do it. So to achieve it was amazing for me. The reason that I did it was even more close to my heart. It really changed the year from something that I think could have been hard for my family into something that was amazing. So it's a very powerful position to have.
Well, and talk about support of family. What's it been for your husband and kids to support you through this amazing experience?
I see him, so he's still here, so that's a good step.
Yeah.
He knew what he was getting into when I signed up, so thankfully, he's probably one of the most patient and understanding men that you will find. I may have used it up, but I did promise I will not do compassion, so
Well,
that got us through it.
He may be feeling behind every great woman is a great man, would you say?
Oh yeah, and a lot of patience, yeah.
All right, terrific. Well, Delicia, you've truly been an inspiration to many of us this year. We're going to hear more from you later. And ladies and gentlemen, Delicia Wistrand, Mrs. Oregon America. Okay, isn't she great? She really's done a lot this year and did a wonderful job at Nationals representing Oregon. We're so proud of her. The pageant and contestants have been working to raise funds for our fabulous face contest and Operation Homefront. Have you voted for your contestant? The competition is still on. Our Facebook page has the GoFundMe link, as does the program book on the inside back cover. The contestant that has the most donations for this worthy cause will be the winner and will be announced at the end of the show. We'll be accepting votes throughout the show. Once all phases of the competition are complete, we will notify you that voting is stopped and we'll tally the votes. The winner of the contest will receive a day of pampering, including a massage and facial courtesy of the Mrs. Oregon pageant, as well as a lunch with the director. Our new Mrs. Oregon America will also receive $250 towards her National Fabulous Face competition. Now that you're all warmed up, let's introduce you to the people responsible for selecting this year's Mrs. Oregon America. This is not an easy task to undertake. The judges met earlier today with our judges chair, Michelle Winder, and they were able to meet our ladies in person during the individual interview process. Each lady had 5 minutes with each judge to answer questions presented, similar to a job interview. The interview phase of the competition totals 50% of their score, 25% for beauty, and 25% for poise and personality. Let's meet this year's panel of judges. Okay, our first judge is Zonnie Board, Director of Miss Lane County Scholarship Pageant, Lynn Benton Counties, and Miss University of Oregon. Originally from Southern California, now a proud Oregonian, Zonnie Board moved to Oregon shortly after high school and soon fell in love with the state and a handsome man named Don. They have been happily married for 39 years, have 3 children, 3 grandchildren, and reside in the beautiful small town of Cottage Grove. Mrs. Borg has been involved for many years in the pageantry world. In 1992, her daughter pulled her in as a pageant mom. In 2005, she joined the Miss Lane County Board of Directors, becoming the Miss Lane County Executive Director in 2011. In love with the program and all it provides to worthy young women across America, she continues to make the local Miss America program a priority in her life. Zonnie devotes hundreds of volunteer hours in its behalf. Zonnie works 2 jobs and manages to squeeze it all in. She is a terrific traffic control supervisor for Wild Dish Standard Paving and a hospitality specialist with the Hilton Conference Inn in Eugene. Okay, our next guest. Our next guest is Jim Beer. Jim Beer is a national leader in the renewable energy industry with over 30 years of experience in a wide variety of applications, including solar, wind, and geothermal, with an emphasis on biogas. He's recognized as an industry expert in the utilization of biogas and is a frequent speaker at conferences. He also serves as chairman of the Landfill Gas Utilization Committee of the Solid Waste Association of North America and the largest and most influential trade association in the solid waste industry. Jim is a senior project developer for Ameresco, where he develops renewable energy projects throughout North and South America. Prior to joining Ameresco, Jim held senior management positions at 2 of the nation's leading environmental consulting firms. He served as regional vice president for Shaw Environmental and for the SCS Field Services, where he sat on its board of directors. Jim is an Ohio native and a graduate of the University of Cincinnati, where he received his degree in geology. As part of his successful advancement in the environmental consulting industry, he also obtained an engineering management certificate from the California Institute of Technology. Jim's hobbies include traveling, teaching Sunday school, hiking, and mountaineering. He's the proud father of 2 adult children, Christopher and Ricky, and the incredibly proud grandpa of 3-year-old Hunter. He's been married to his native Oregonian wife, Holly, for 13 years. After needing to be in California and Arizona for 12 of those years, they were finally able to move back to Oregon in early 2015. Although a newer resident to the state, Jim has spent significant time here over the past 13 years, including successfully summiting Mount Hood in 2008, and he is delighted to now call Oregon home. Thank you very much, Jim. Our next judge is Ms. Mahoney. She was born, Tara Mahoney, she was born and raised in Springfield, Oregon, and earned her BA in Journalism Communications from the University of Oregon with a concentration in public relations. She worked in tech PR for a large-scale firm whose clients included Microsoft, TheKnot.com, and Victoria's Secret fashion show line online. In addition to her PR background, Tara's been involved in competitive cheerleading for over 20 years. She was a high school and junior college cheerleader and has been teaching camps throughout Oregon, Washington, California since 1994. Tara founded Oregon's first all-star cheerleading program, Thunder Elite, in 2000. She has choreographed and coached 20 OSAA state champion routines and multiple national championships, including Jam Fest athletic championships and 2 NCAA All-Star national titles in 2010 and 2011. Her choreography work has been recognized multiple times with the Leslie Bailey Memorial Creative Choreography Award and with an NCAA Creative Choreography Award. She was named Oregon Cheerleader Coaches Association Coach of the Year in 2009. Was PacWest Spirit Group's Coach of the Year in 2011, ATC's Program of the Year in 2011, inducted to the OCCA Hall of Fame in 2014. In addition to coaching and choreography, Tara was a performing judge at both the local and national level and served on the OCCA board from 1996 to 2012. Currently, Ms. Mahoney is pursuing a post-baccalaureate and master's degree in speech-language pathology at PSU. Tara is also a freelance makeup artist and has a passion for fashion and all things beautiful. She loves to travel, spend time with her family, boyfriend, pets, and enjoys music, movies, great food, hiking, and camping. Thank you very much, Judge Tara. Our next judge is Mike Chase, is perhaps best known as one half of the Mike and Amy in the morning radio show on 95.5. 99.5 The Wolf, Monday through Fridays, but he can also be seen as a series regular on IFC's Portlandia and in various television commercials both regionally and nationally. Mike also runs a creative media company in Portland called Milepost Media. Mike is an Oregon native and loves raising 2 children in the Northwest and likes to play a little tennis whenever there is time. Welcome, Mike. Our next judge is Felicia Tuck. Felicia is an Oregon native. She's been involved in the fashion industry in the Northwest for 25 years. She's had the wonderful experience of being a commercial, print, and runway model, along with being on the other side of the camera teaching pro model workshops to models and actors who are new to the industry. Felicia was also a booking agent and scout for Q6 Talent and Artist Management for a period of time. She just signed on as a volunteer personal stylist for the Dress for Success organization, combining her love for fashion, empowering and encouraging women from the inside out is what she's passionate about. Thank you, Judge Felicia. Okay. Our judge's chair is Michelle Winder this evening. Her husband and 2 children live in West Linn area. Helping as the auditor is Sheila Halverson. Her husband and 2 children live in Oregon City. Thank you to all of you. Thanks to you all. The job you have this evening is a tough one. So I think we're ready for the first phase of the competition this evening. Judges, are you ready? Audience, are you ready? So let's welcome back Delisha Wistrand to the podium. Okay.
All right, so I see that they are ready and just chomping at the bit to come out here in their bathing suits. So let's get going. Today you're going to see the ladies wearing Carol Wear swimsuits. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pareto swimsuits.
This portion makes up 25% of the overall score, and here they come.
Our first contestant tonight is Lori McNeil, Mrs. Eastern Oregon.
Lori is 5'4" and is 37 years old. She's been married for 15 years. Lori enjoys snowshoeing, volunteering, scrapbooking, and reading. She averages 650 hours a year of volunteer community service within Baker County. Lori is the most proud of how God has blessed her with a full range of career experiences from working as a city councilor at age 24 to owning her own consulting firm where she trains Fortune 500 companies nationwide.
Thank you, Mrs. Eastern Oregon. Next, we have Mrs. Multnomah County, Tammy Bryant Oliver.
She's been married for 9 months and has 2 fur babies. When she isn't flying the friendly skies at her job as a flight attendant, Tammy loves to spend time outside, reading, going on adventures with her husband, and traveling. Tammy is proud of many things in her life. She's been on her job for 12 years and loves it today as much as the day she started. She's also proud that even in today's market, Tammy and her husband bought their first home together. Although Tammy and Casey are still technically newlyweds, she's learned that marriage is something you have to work at every day. Also, Tammy will always be proud of her Oregon Ducks.
Mrs. Washington County, Courtney Cleaver is our next contestant.
Courtney is 5'5" tall and is 38 years old. She's been married for 15 years and has 3 children. Courtney's hobbies include long distance running, playing soccer, assisting with youth sports, and volunteering at her children's elementary school. Courtney is most proud of her wonderful husband and their 3 amazing children. With them, life is exciting and full of love. She is also proud of her work in giving back to the March of Dimes and reaching out to the community about life-saving work that they do. Courtney and her husband's oldest son, Liam, is alive today thanks to the March of Dimes and the research that they fund.
Thank you, Mrs. Washington Carter. Up next is Chandra Warman, Mrs. Cascade Lakes.
Chandra is 5 foot 8 inches tall. She's 27 years old and has been married for 4.5 years. She has a 4-year-old cockapoo named Java. She's been sewing for 20 years and she made her dress for the evening interview this morning. You can find her spending her extra time baking, camping, and on a lake kayaking. She also enters the Deschutes County Fair Open Class Division with a record of 83 entries in photography, sewing, baking, art, food preservation, table setting, and gardening. Chandra is proud to have a healthy and happy marriage for almost 5 years to her wonderful husband, Taylor. She's also proud that they both have stable careers and are able to own a home in this heart economy. They share the dream of one day owning a small farm and raising a family.
Thank you, Mrs. Cascade Lakes. Next, we have Mrs. Central Oregon, Janine Gross.
Jeannie is 5 feet 4 inches tall and is 39 years old. She's been married for 15 years and is a mom of 4. Jeannie's been a long-distance runner for many years and loves training for races, from 10K to the full marathon distance. When she's not doing either of these, she enjoys hanging out with her husband and playing video games with her kids. She is most proud of her 4 kids. Jeannie treasures the relationship she has with them. She loves the journey of being a wife and mom.
Thank you, Mrs. Central. Next, we have Mrs. Baker County, Misty Anderson.
Misty is 5'9" and is 32 years old. She's been married for 12 years and has 3 daughters. Misty enjoys painting in watercolors, reading, spending time in nature, and playing the flute. She also enjoys getting her hands dirty by refinishing furniture and various home decorating and home improvement projects. Misty is proud of being a wife to a wonderful husband and the mother of her beautiful daughters.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker County. Let's welcome to the stage Mrs. Yamhill Valley, Helen Anderson.
Helen is 5 foot 5 inches and 38 years old. Helen has been married for 11 years and has 3 children. You can find Helen running the hills of her wine country home. On Sunday weekends, Helen and her family are working on their 10-acre farm, riding bikes with friends, or climbing the dunes at Pacific City to watch the Dory boats beach and lifting her children to see the fish in the coolers. Helen is most proud of her family. Her sons Colton 10 and Henry 8 are nearly fluent in Spanish and have a deep appreciation for different cultures and world views. Her husband Brian is a source of enormous pride. He's a Portland firefighter and paramedic who manages extreme situations with skill and compassion, then comes home to work on their farm.
Thank you, Mrs. Yamhill Valley. Our next contestant is Mrs. Douglas County, Leslie Martin.
Leslie is 5'2" and 33 years old. She's been married for 5 wonderful years and has 2 boys, Connor and Austin. Leslie's hobbies are cooking, dancing, spending time with her family, photography, and traveling. She hopes to one day travel to the Maldives. She is most proud of her husband for being such an incredibly hard worker. Oftentimes he is working away from home and on weekends to provide for their family. She is truly grateful and appreciative for all his sacrifice and his amazing work ethic.
Thank you, Mrs. Douglas County. Our final contestant in the swimmer competition, Mrs. Lane County, Sabina Johnson.
Sabina is 5 foot 7.5 inches tall and is 27 years of age. She's been married for 4 years and has 2 children, Bailey and Andrew. Sabina has a passion for dance. She is also quite gifted in art, jewelry making, sewing, crafting, and enjoys anything outdoors. Although there are many things in Sabina's life to be grateful and proud of, she's most proud of her family. She couldn't imagine life without them.
Thank you, Mrs. Lane County. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the first area of the stage competition. Let's give them one more round of applause. That is
Okay, so, Alicia, do you think the ladies are happy to have the swimwear portion of the competition completed?
absolutely. Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the competition?
Oh, when I won, I think, was probably the best part. But evening gown is a close second, because when do you ever get to wear these gowns, right? Never, yeah.
So we are going to let you go backstage now, and we're going to see you back again a little bit later. Thank you very much. There she is, everybody. Okay, we have a special guest this evening from Operation Homefront. The pageant and the contestants have been working to raise funds for this organization that provides emergency financial assistance to active duty service members and wounded warriors. Welcome to Amy Guki, our special guest, to speak on behalf of Operation Homefront. Amy was born and raised in Oregon. She grew up in Colton and Molalla and then moved to Maupin in the 2nd grade. There she graduated high school. She has a degree from University of Oregon in political science and business. She works in marketing and event management. She is a small town girl but loves nights out on the town. Family and friends are a huge thing for her. Amy is an animal lover and enjoys giving back to charity and doing activities in the outdoors. Please welcome Amy.
Good evening, my name is Amy Gutsky. As he stated, I'm here tonight to tell you about my involvement in Operation Homefront. But first I'd like to tell you about my big brother, Craig. Craig was born and raised in Chicago. He was a lover of adventure, whether that was diving from the high board, racing around on his motorcycle, or jumping out of a perfectly good airplane. Craig was a prankster, an overly protective big brother, best friend of many, and a very intelligent young man. He had a great job and was doing very well for himself. All of that changed on September 11th, 2001. In the aftermath of 9/11 and before the Iraq War erupted, Craig decided he needed to go fight for his country, joining the 2nd Battalion, 1st Infantry Regiment in 2003. He rose to the rank of sergeant, where he endured multiple tours in Iraq, almost losing his life in 2005 when his vehicle hit an IED. Despite this, he was asked to continue to serve his country in the battlefield, which he did with pride. On October 30th, 2006, while attending the University of Oregon, I got the shocking news from my family and other military men that Craig had been shot and killed in Baghdad. He was killed while conducting a sweep of an insurgent residence. This just 2 months before he was due to finish his military service and return home. I've personally spoken with many of the men who were with him that day, and they said Craig not only died for our country, but he died jumping into the line of fire to save all of his brothers, taking 3 bullets. Because of him, no others were killed. He was awarded a 2nd Purple Heart and a Bronze Star for his heroism and sacrifice that day. Much like Craig, the men and women that serve our country embody these words: heroism and sacrifice. Fast forward to about a year ago, I was asked to work an event, which I was given very little detail about. Once I was there, I realized that the event was being held to honor a military family by giving them a year's worth of free groceries. This evoked many feelings and emotions. I felt somewhat blindsided. I felt sadness, a deep hole in my chest, one I hadn't felt in years, and I felt hope. I saw so much love and camaraderie from the sponsors, the community, as well as the volunteers, turning this random work event into something with great significance for me. This led me to take my first steps and introduce myself to Operation Homefront. I've always been philanthropic and involved in many nonprofits, so after the event, I went home and researched Operation Homefront. What I found blew me away. Unlike other organizations, 92% of all donations go towards the cause in need. Only 8% go to administrative costs. Personally, being someone who was diagnosed and suffers from PTSD, I can feel for and relate to the men and women who have served our great country, and I understand how hard it can be to get through daily life. These veterans need our help. Need help from our community, especially after the sacrifice they've made for our freedom. Operation Homefront provides that help. They help with the transition back to civilian life. They assist with medical bills. They put food on the table. They catch people up on rent and utilities. And they clothe children for school. This among countless other great resources. They do all of this while also holding the person or families accountable for their spending so that they can actually get back on their feet. Since joining the Operation Homefront team, I've had the opportunity to participate in several fundraising events, all of which have been very rewarding. In addition to this, last year working with Operation Homefront, I organized an annual fundraiser that takes place on the memorial of Craig's death, October 30th. We threw a big Halloween party in his honor, and all of the money raised that night was donated to the Emergency Assistance Program in his name. I invite all of you to join us at Operation Homefront. It's people like you and the volunteers who will truly make a difference in these veterans' lives. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for those terrific remarks, and I think we'll hold a special place for Pregnant Hearts.
Thank you so much.
Do that. So I think you'd all agree that this is a very worthy cause. We'd like to remind you again to make your donation to Operation Homefront on our GoFundMe site as linked on our Facebook page. Grab your cell phones. You can still vote. It's not cut off yet. By the end of this program, it will be cut off. So you can go onto our Facebook page and make sure to indicate the contestant that you're voting for. We also have a Fabulous Face competition that will continue after intermission. The contest that has the most funds raised and donations for this worthy cause will be the winner, and will be announced at the end of the show. The winner of the contest will receive a day of pampering, and the new Mrs. Oregon America of 2016 will receive a $250 payment towards her National Fabulous Face competition. Okay, there are many sponsors that make this event possible. A slideshow of all our sponsors was played before the pageant, and we will play that again at intermission. Also see all of our sponsors in our program book and on our website. Each contestant receives a prize package of over $2,000, and the winner of the Mrs. Oregon America Pageant 2016 receives a prize package of over $10,000. We would like to personally thank and acknowledge our sponsors that are here this evening. Don Meany, a realtor with Soldera Properties, sponsored the program book, provided a set of luggage for Mrs. Oregon, as well as brought in other sponsoring businesses. Providing our new Mrs. Oregon with a 6-month membership at Fit for Life is Westland. In Westland is Kevin Sullivan. Karen O'Halloran of Roadland Fields provided all contestants with samples and a $450 gift bag of products for the new Mrs. Oregon America. Michelle Boxell Gleason, celebrity makeup artist and hairstylist, is here backstage working with the contestants on hair and makeup. She's donated professional makeup to the winner for her photo shoot to create her official Mrs. Oregon America headshot. Jesse Vredrell Schultz and Mary Kay provided cosmetics to our contestants and the winner of the Mrs. Oregon title. Angie with the Bridal Gallery provided discounts to the Mrs. Oregon contestants and a $500 wardrobe to Mrs. Oregon. Terry Pompma with Glam Lash Boutique has provided discounts to the contestants and lash extensions to the winner. Janine with Wishing Well Floral has provided our awards flower bouquets this evening. Very beautiful out front. Our Mrs. Oregon will receive hair care for the year from Al Salon. She will have the latest styles and will be well taken care of. Tony from Foxy Nails provided discounts to the contestants yesterday and will provide services to our Mrs. Oregon as she prepares for the national contest. Let's bring Delicia Wistrand back out for our next phase of the competition. Okay, lots to get ready back here. So here she is. All right, welcome back.
I was just making sure everyone had everything zipped and tucked and ready to go, so we are ready. Yes, so the evening gown portion of the competition is also worth 25% of their overall score. Once this area competition is complete, they're going to combine that swimsuit score, interview score, and the evening gown score.
The composite score will determine the top 3 contestants. All contestants will answer their onstage question, and the top 3 contestants' scores will be added to the preliminary scores, and that will determine the new Mrs. Oregon America 2016. Let's begin the evening gown competition.
But first,
We get a minute to let things get ready back there. So how's the last couple of days been going out in the community with these great women, building relationships and getting ready for this event?
I think that's probably one of the best things about being involved in this pageant in particular, but pageantry in general, the relationships that you build. I have some amazing friends going back from, I think the first year I competed was 2009, and so I still have some of those really great friends all the way from then. So you meet really accomplished, amazing women through this program.
And if you missed any of their events or excursions, I guess we call them, they're on the Facebook page. It looked like they had a lot of fun.
Yes, Okay, I got the thumbs up, so let's give this a go. Our evening gown competition. We will welcome Lori McNeil, Mrs. Eastern Oregon. Lori has brown hair and hazel green eyes. Within the last year, she has traveled 35,000 square miles to promote literacy within schools, libraries, and community events across Eastern Oregon. Lori and Jason met at a Bible study and did not actually have a conversation for several months. One night after Bible study, their group went to Denny's and they ended up sitting at a table by themselves. They visited for 8 hours that night and made plans for their first official date. Lori knew Jason was for her after their first date, which ended up being over 15 hours long. She gave Jason a pile of books from a marriage conference and asked him to study them, and then let her know he still wanted to pursue her. He did, and they were engaged 6 months later. Thank you, Mrs. Eastern Oregon.
Next up is Tammy Bryan Oliver, Mrs. Multnomah County. Tammy has blonde hair and brown eyes. She's had the pleasure of hosting several Make-A-Wish families on her flights through the years. From takeoff to touchdown, the families are treated to a memorable flight experience on their way to their dream trip. She's also worked with Oregon Active, a local nonprofit that helps grant dream trips and adventures for people with disabilities or hardships. Tammy and Casey met while attending the University of Oregon. Years later, Tammy made Casey her family's top secret and delicious lasagna for their first dinner together. Come to find out, the way to Casey's heart was through his stomach. Tammy knew that she loved Casey after a few months of dating. His outgoing personality and adventurous side complemented Tammy's quieter play-it-safe side and taught her to come out of her shell and face life head-on and live every day to the fullest. Thank you, Mrs. Multnomah County.
Mrs. Washington County. Courtney has blue eyes and dark hair. She is involved as a neonatal intensive care patient advisory board member, speaker and advocate for the March of Dimes March for Babies and Signature Chefs auction, Pew Charitable Trust advocate, and a supermom for the prevention of antibiotic resistance, and EEDY, Ridge Elementary parent volunteer. Courtney and her husband met while at Oregon State University pursuing their undergraduate degrees. Courtney says she had always known that her husband Josh was the one for her because of his character and his honesty, his most attractive features. And he brings out the best in her every day. Thank you, Mrs. Washington County.
Our next contestant is Chandra Warman, Mrs. Cascade Lakes. Chandra has black hair and brown eyes. She has been the director for Make It with Wool for 3 years, as well as choreographer for their fashion show for 2 years. She also raised $2,073 for the March of Dimes as a model for the High Heels for High Hopes fashion show. Chandra met her husband while working at Round Butte Seed Growers in 2008. She worked the retail side of the store and he worked in the chemical application department. She says it was love at first sight. The moment she lays eyes on him, she knew. She went home that night and told her great-grandparents that she found the man she was going to marry. 3 years, 2 months, and 25 days later, they made it down the aisle. Thank you, Mrs. Cascade Lakes.
Please welcome Jeannie Gross, Mrs. Central Oregon. Jeannie has light brown hair with blonde highlights and hazel eyes. She met her husband Lance at his fraternity house at Oregon State the summer before the junior year. She was renting a room at his fraternity to work and continue classes. She unknowingly got his attention by writing inspirational quotes on her dry erase board, along with baking cookies and handing them out to everyone. During that summer, Jeannie made up a list of the qualities she wanted for her future husband. Through prayer, she realized Lance had these qualities that she was looking for. She knew that she would have to be patient, but 2 years later, they were married. Thank you, Mrs. Central Oregon.
Next, we have Misty Anderson, Mrs. Baker County. Misty has brown hair and blue eyes. In her spare time, she enjoys volunteering as a classroom reading tutor. She also volunteers as an REAL volunteer, where she visits local schools in her area and reads to children who need additional help. Misty met her husband Monty when she was 16 at a church adult dance. Monty asked Misty to the dance. She knew that Monty was the one for her when she met him for the first time, dressed up as a gorgeous monk at a Halloween dance when she was 16, and it was love at first sight. Thank you, Mrs. Baker County.
Up next is Helen Anderson, Mrs. Yamhill Valley. Helen has blonde hair and blue eyes. She is a lead nurse at the McMinnville Free Clinic, providing free medical care and mental health care to anyone that requests it. Helen manages the clinic along with other dedicated staff. She cares for patients and other volunteers. Helen met her husband when they were just friends, out with friends. He was wearing old cowboy boots, so of course he was irresistible. Helen was in nursing school and Brian was a paramedic. They saw in each other a desire to help people when they were in the most need. She knew he was the one for her on an early date. Brian vented about a recent frustrating experience with a patient. It had been tough, but Brian handled it with kindness and grace throughout. It also helps that, like most firemen, Brian is dashingly handsome and a fabulous cook. Thank you, Mrs. Yamhill Valley.
And now we have Leslie Martin, Mrs. Douglas County. Leslie has brown and blonde hair and hazel eyes. Her community involvement includes Smart Reading Program, March of Dimes, and as a Relay for Life volunteer, and also a member of the Oregon Loggers Association. She also volunteers at Feed the Bird, a local Roseburg group that provides free meals and hygiene products to the homeless in the Roseburg area. Leslie met her husband in 2001 through mutual friends. Leslie knew Chris was the one for her when he invited her over and surprised her with her favorite food, zuppa toscana, that he had cooked himself. She knew right then and there that he was a keeper. Thank you, Mrs. Douglas County.
Last up is Sabina Johnson, Mrs. Lane County. Sabina has brown hair and brown eyes. Sabina enjoys being a part of and fundraising money for both the Eugene, Springfield, and South Lane County Relay for Life events. She is currently the lead chair on the committee of the South Lane County Relay for Life. And in her spare time, she helps prepare food boxes for those in need at her local community sharing. Sabina met Jesse in high school and they quickly became friends. After 7 years of friendship, they had their first date. She'll say, I don't think there's one defining moment that stood out and said that he's the one. It's all the little things he did. The way he smiles just for me, even when I'm driving off the wall. And the little messages to cheer me up on a bad day. There's never a day that he lets me forget that he loves me. Thank you, Mrs. Lane County.
Okay, well that does it for our evening gown competition. I hope that you've enjoyed the show so far. Any favorites? Fantastic. At this time, we're going to take a brief intermission. During intermission, would any former Mrs. Oregon Americas please join us in the hallway stage left, and we will see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, returning to the stage, David Dowd.
Okay, thank you very much. We're back, and we're at the halfway point. And we're going to ask, did you vote for your Fabulous Face winner during the intermission on Facebook? Voting will be closed after we do our onstage questions. So this is your last chance to raise funds for a great cause and win your favorite contestant that wonderful prize. Now, at this time, it's with tradition to introduce the other former Mrs. Oregon America winners that are here tonight. And lastly, the executive director of the Mrs. Oregon America pageant, Patricia Neveroff, and she was Mrs. Oregon 2003. And we have this evening Joelle Rankin Goodwin, our 2009 winner. We have Erin Igor, our 2012 winner. We have Shakira Morgan, our 2014 winner. And here's Patricia Navrock, our 2003 winner. How about any of the Mrs. Washington America contestants and title holders, could you please stand? All other title holders, please stand this time. Thank you, ladies. It looks like the judges are in their seats and ready for the next area of competition. This is the portion of the competition where you and the judges get to know our contestants a little bit better. The judges are looking for personality and how the contestants might handle themselves in a public setting. The scored event is called Vote of the Heart. The judges rank the top 3 contestants in order of winner, first, second, and runner-up. These rankings have a point value and are added to the scores from prelims to decide the first and second runner-ups and the winner of the Mrs. Oregon America 2016 pageant. We will now call the contestants out individually to answer questions as provided by some of our former Mrs. Oregons. Okay.
Kind of join me over here. All right, so maybe I lied about the swimsuit being the worst part. I have a feeling maybe this is actually the roughest part, but you know what? We're going to encourage them a lot. They're going to give us great answers, and this is going to be a great time to really get to know our contestants. So we will start with contestant number 1.
Okay, I have the questions here. They get to pick a random envelope that I'm going to open up and have them read the question. Here we go.
And this is Eastern Oregon.
Okay. Terrence Stastny, Mrs. Oregon 2008. The question is, if you were judging this pageant, what characteristics would you look for when choosing a winner?
I think that the winner needs to be incredibly genuine. I think that's something that I, as a judge, would definitely be searching for and looking for in every aspect throughout the competition, that she truly is a genuine person and going to represent the state of Oregon very well.
Contestant number 2. Good one.
Okay.
This is Multnomah County.
I'll
Tammy
take this
Wright.
one. Here we go. This question is for Kimberly Takla, Mrs. Oregon 2007, and Terrence Stastny, Mrs. Oregon 2008. How would you respond as Mrs. Oregon when someone is making fun of pageantry?
If somebody makes fun of pageantry, I would ask them to come and watch a pageant and actually be with somebody while they're preparing for a pageant, because this isn't easy. Getting up on in a swimsuit in front of all of you tonight takes a lot of hard work and a lot of courage. So if you have something to say about pageants, can you come talk to one of us? Because we'll show you what it's all about.
Contestant number 3, Mrs. Washington County, Courtney Taylor.
Just touch one now. There we go. All right. This question is from our Mrs. Oregon 1993, Lori Lewis. As Mrs. Oregon, how can you successfully balance being a mother, and if you have children, a wife, and having a career in volunteering?
Being a parent itself, mother, father, takes balance. Being a friend, being a volunteer, all those take balance, organization. I believe that you put your priorities in place where your heart is. So I would put my family above all with the Lord, have that I would put the pageant as my job and friendships along with that. That's how I would balance it all.
Contestant number 4, Mrs. Cascade Lakes, Chandler.
There we go. All right, this question is from Aspen Drost, Mrs. Oregon 2011. Okay, describe a moment of failure and what you learned from it.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I feel like I'm giving an impromptu speech first. I think one of the, probably my biggest failures has always been time management and procrastination. And I know my mom sitting in the audience will agree with me on this one. This year was the first year that I have actually had an outfit done on time, actually 3 days ahead of time. Usually I'm sewing myself into it while I'm on my way to the stage. So I think that's one of my biggest failures, and over the past few years I think I've gotten a little bit better as time goes on, and I was really happy not to be hand sewing walking into the judges room this morning. Thank you.
All right, we have contestant number 5. This is Mrs. Central Oregon, Jeannie Gross.
That one for you. This is a question submitted by past pageant Mrs. Oregon 2012, Erin Peelboard. What are the top 2 things you will do during your reign if crowned Mrs. Oregon?
Top 2 things I would like to do if I was crowned Mrs. Oregon. As a massage therapist, I want to go around and give everybody a massage. I just think they feel great, and I want to bless people with something that feels wonderful and pamper them. So that's one thing I would love to do. I love pampering people. Another thing I would love to do as Mrs. Oregon is be an encourager. There's things out there that people can go out and do and accomplish and feel great about themselves. And so I want to be an encourager and a helper and a server. Thank you.
Contestant number 6, Mrs. Baker County, Ms.
Okay, this question is submitted by Kat Flanders, Mrs. Oregon 2006. If your child were being harassed, how would you deal with the balance of protecting your child within the school and law enforcement policies?
Well, working for the school district and my local community, it's important first and foremost to have the child safe and to work with the school. The school administration is there to help protect your child. And if you're working together, then the situation will be resolved quickly and efficiently. And also the law enforcement is there also to protect the community members as well.
Contestant number 7, Mrs. Yamhill Valley, Helen Anderson.
Open that up. Okay, this question is submitted by Patricia Nabrock, Mrs. Oregon 2003. Okay, what unique quality would you bring to the title of Mrs. Oregon?
I think the unique quality that I would bring would be a drive to make the most of my title year. I really believe in my platform of promoting community service as a family activity, and I would do my best to lead by example and continue to live my life in service to my family and my community. Thank you.
Left, contestant number 8, Mrs. Douglas County, Leslie Martin.
Okay. Okay, here we go. This question is submitted by Kim Wilder, Mrs. Oregon 2002. With so many demands on women these days, how would you define being a good wife?
To me, being a good wife is just compromise and learning to pick your battles. I mean, There can only be one crazy person at a time, which is usually me, but it's just about each person having their own time to be crazy and not two at a time. And always remember to be a team, because two parents on the same page together can accomplish way more against the kids.
All right, our last question of the evening. We're going to go to contestant number 9.
The bottom goes. Here we go. This question is submitted by Joelle Goodwin Rankins, Mrs. Oregon 2009. In some states, pageants have 30 to 50 contestants, while Oregon has considerably less. What would you do as Mrs. Oregon to bring up those numbers?
Well, as a Relay for Life event lead in a small community, we have a very small relay, and I have learned this year by going out personally and talking to people and telling them about what we do, we have managed to accumulate a lot more today than we did last year this time for our Relay for Life. So I would take that same drive and that same passion I have for Relay, and I would apply it as being Mrs. Oregon, and I would go out there and do appearances, and I would tell people about this pageant and what we do. Make them love it as much as I do.
Wouldn't you agree that this is a tough competition?
Yeah, I don't have to be a judge in it.
I'm just glad I didn't have to answer those questions. Now we'd like to invite the director of the Mrs. Oregon America pageant, Patricia Nubrock, Mrs. Oregon 2003, to share a message and the Director's Award.
Good evening. I tell the contestants backstage as I'm walkie-talking them back, and I keep going, I need number 2, I need number 3, and I'm like, okay, I can breathe now. As soon as I see them all there, I know that I can breathe, and we're almost done. So I just wanted to personally thank my friends that are backstage. All of my friends, I couldn't do this without my friends and my family. A lot of the judges are people I've known throughout my life. I've got a judge here that I went to high school with. I've got judges that I've made new friends with along the way, and an amazing staff of ladies who, I think 4 or 5 of them tried to feed me today, so I think they knew that I would forget to eat. But I couldn't do it without the amazing sponsors that we have that are here tonight, and with the group of ladies that are backstage. So the next thing that I would like to announce, at this time, I'm going to give the first award of the evening. How's that sound? This is the Director's Award. The award goes to the contestant that has been organized and timely with paperwork. She has attended all meetings and has worked as a partner with the director, myself, already to promote the program. So at this time, I would like to bring out Misty Anderson.
Okay, terrific. And we need to bring you here one quick second. You need to get something. And on behalf of everyone behind the scenes, this is for you. For all that you do. At this time, we'd like to announce the donations towards your votes for the Fabulous Face winner are now closed. The winner will be announced at the end of our program, which is drawing near. Okay, we'd like to look back at the last year as Alicia Wistrand traveled around the state and to Las Vegas, Nevada to compete at the Mrs. America pageant. She's had a busy year making appearances throughout the state. She's represented the pageant and the married women of Oregon with poise and grace, as you will see by her slideshow.
Because I'm happy.
think you'd all agree that Delisha had a fulfilling year and a busy year at that. And let's bring Delisha Wistrand, Mrs. Oregon 2015, Miss Oregon America 2015, back to the stage for her final farewell. Getting ready for her final farewell. Okay, here she is, everybody. Let's give her a large round of applause.
Ever since I'd become a mom and a missus. Tonight, I find myself with a mix of emotions. Sadness that I'm closing this chapter of my life. Eager anticipation to find out which amazing lady will be starting her own journey this evening. And excitement for my family and the new experiences coming our way. My year as Mrs. Oregon America 2015 brought me joy, excitement, and a sense of accomplishment that will forever be cherished. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I think you can say that exact same thing about a queen. My year as Mrs. Oregon was only possible because of the immeasurable amount of support and guidance I've had available to me. This is why my first and most heartfelt thank you goes out to my family. Both that crazy crew that calls me Mommy and Honey, and my lovingly involved extended family. Thank you for encouraging me even when you had no idea what a Mrs. Pageant was, for being incredibly proud of me all throughout my year, and for making it okay for me to take some personal time that I needed to fill this title. A very special thank you goes to my husband Lenny, who 100% hands down earned that Superman shirt he got for Father's Day. Thank you to all my generous sponsors who turned me into the most polished, beautiful version of myself. Thank you for the brilliant smile, the most gentle, kind business. To Angie and your artistic staff at the Bio Gallery, thank you for your endless generosity, your genuine interest in my personal and pageant life, and for dressing me so beautifully. I will miss those trips to Salem and your gorgeous zebra print garment. A big thank you to a woman I saw as a mentor and now pageant sister, Joelle. Your guidance and shared experiences were invaluable. I look forward to our blossoming friendship and wish you the best of luck at your upcoming competition. To my director and handler, Patricia, I've known you for several years, but this past year has been a true gift. Our friendship has flourished, and I have found more than a director, but a mommy confidant, a great road trip buddy, and a true friend. Your honest interest in my family's well-being and my own happiness makes me confident that our relationship will continue beyond pageants. Finally, to this inspirational group of ladies competing tonight, cherish this experience and the relationships you built in this pageant. While only one of you will be crowned a Mrs. Oregon tonight, you all bring amazing contributions to your families, communities, and to this program. I hope you can honestly feel successful long after tonight is over. To the next Mrs. Oregon, I'm so excited for you. You are in for fun, and all I can say is enjoy every minute. Thank you to everyone who has had a hand in this amazing journey. I will forever be grateful to have been your Mrs. Oregon America 2015.
Thank you to the Wistrand family. And ladies and gentlemen, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come, the parade of contestants. fantastic job tonight, and although only one of you will win the crown, you've all won our heart. Congratulations. Before we crown our new Mrs. Oregon America, we would like to recognize that this pageant would not go on without the support of so many pageant friends. Thank you, first of all, to the wonderful Westland High School Performing Arts Center, the staff and students that have worked hard to help us make this evening a success. Isn't this a beautiful venue? You'll be able to watch the pageant on our website for free throughout the year. And let's also thank Bill Berry of Berry Photo for taking great pictures of our ladies this evening. I also want to thank our announcer, Joelle Goodwin. Okay, ladies, are we ready? Now is the big moment. May I have the envelopes, please? Thank you, Michelle. We're going to start with our special awards tonight. Our first award is Mrs. Photogenic Award. This winner was selected by Bill Berry, our official photographer. And the winner is Helen Anderson, Mrs. Jennifer Tony. Our next award tonight is the Fabulous Face winner. You, the people, selected the woman by your donations to the Operation Homefront. And the winner is Courtney Kleiber. Okay, our next award is Mrs. Congeniality. This is a special award because this award is voted on by the contestants themselves. It's given to the person they felt was the most kind to everyone and really touched their heart. And the winner is Tammy Bryant Allred. Our next award is our Community Service Award. And the winner is Lori McNeil. Okay, I'll mess this up. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our top 3 awards. Next up is our second runner-up. And the winner is Jeannie Gross. We're about to announce the first runner-up and then the winner of the Mrs. Oregon 2016 title. The first runner-up will be the lady to take the crown if Mrs. Oregon wins Mrs. America or is no longer able to fulfill her duties. There's also a national first runner-up contest. She'll be competing in a contest for the opportunity to win her way to the national pageant as well. And the first runner-up is Leslie Martin. Congratulations. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the crowning of the new Mrs. Oregon America. If your lady is to win, we would like the immediate family to wait at the front of the stage for a photo. All others, please refrain from running to the stage as we'll have photos that need to be taken. Your ladies will be in the lobby right after we are finished. And now, the new Mrs. Oregon America is Pamela Anderson.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a
On behalf of myself, the pageant staff and contestants, thank you for being here tonight and your support of the pageant.